time, energy, family, my actual job. I've given up hours watching Star Wars content and planning for this episode. I wake up to a franchise that's as old as I am and can only conclude that I've been damned to be a fan of droids, Jedi, Sith, and political intrigue that took place a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. I yearn to use the Force, to have a Wookiee for a co-pilot, and look anywhere as cool as Lando Calrissian. I'm condemned to consume every Star Wars project for the rest of my life. I've suffered through a decade and a half wondering if I'd ever see the prequels. Then I did, and I suffered again. I've mourned the death of the expanded universe canon, experienced the highs of Rogue One, Andor, the Mandalorian, the lows of somehow Palpatine returned. So what do I sacrifice? Nothing I wouldn't do willingly, because I'm John Martin.
And I'm Dean Reverman.
And I'm Sam Hughes.
Welcome to the 6th annual BlueStar Nation Star Wars Nerdfest. Yeah! BlueStar Nation podcast is brought to you by Elo. You may be familiar with Elo's flexible iSeries displays. We're all very
You may be.
those,
Yes,
right?
yes, I'm very familiar, yes.
But now they have been upgraded for the most demanding use cases. The iSeries Steel combines the durability of a stainless steel chassis with the flexibility of Android, complete with a chemically strengthened touch display available in 10, 15, and 22-inch sizes, Android 14 OS, integrated power over Ethernet, and superior IP ratings to protect the device from the demands of industrial environments and commercial kitchens. You know, you've been in a commercial kitchen. You know how
Yeah. Although I think you need to reread that with your movie voice. Elo Steel.
Did they approve of that?
No, that's one of the other ads.
Oh, got it.
That's one of the other ads. Right. You know, I'm trying to be kind.
Continue.
I mean, Elo's already got an ad in a Star Wars themed episode. This probably wasn't on their agenda for
Did they ask for this?
either.
I don't think they did, no.
But you know, they get what they get, I guess.
Yes.
Thank you for your support, Elo. Let's dig into that durability a little bit more. IP65 rated front, IP54 in the back, because it party up front.
Yes.
Yeah, even more party
It's
in
business
the
up
back.
front, party in the back. Yeah,
yes.
that's right. Yeah.
All right, great.
So apparently the iSeries Steel is like a mullet. Man. Starting to wonder if Elo is going to be sponsoring next year or not.
Great vision.
Easy to clean and corrosion resistant, reducing contamination, sealed cable covers and rounded corners, combined with integrated Visa mounting and Elo's exceptional support, including security, seamless provisioning, and proprietary APIs for easy Android updates. Finally, the iSeries Steel is ready for the future with a Fuse AI accelerator in the Qualcomm 6490 chipset, offering astonishing performance at low power. Check out the link in the show notes or contact the BlueStar Elo team to learn more. All right, guys. Let's get into it here. Let's talk some Star Wars.
Wait, can we talk about that epic monologue, though?
So I mean, for anyone who doesn't have a clue,
we just can't let that pass. I mean,
that was a riff on a monologue from Andor, the first season of Andor, from Stellan Skarsgård's character Lucian. When he's speaking to his Imperial informant, who's asking, basically telling him, I'm sacrificing all this to bring you information. What are you doing? And he goes in this diatribe about what he sacrificed for the rebellion.
Got it.
Yeah,
I was a little confused there.
that.
I didn't know. Yeah.
That's a
for the
deep cut.
true. That's for the true Star Wars
Yes,
nerds out there.
Yes.
All two of you, maybe.
Well done.
But I'm probably sending this to and telling you need to watch. So that was just it was funny because I was sitting there this morning thinking all right, what am I going to do for the opening of this? And I thought, I should do a cool little monologue. I should do a monologue from Andor. So I literally looked up and there's StarWars.com has a list of 8 or 9 monologues from Andor.
Yep.
And I was like, all right.
Did Saul have one?
Yes.
Yes.
He has that one on Rhino when he's talking to the guy.
Yes. That's who I thought you were first. I'm like, what's going on?
I was kind of doing the little
his
lies, betrayals.
That's it.
Yeah.
Well done.
Forrest Whitaker really gets into his characters. I'll give him that.
Breathe it in.
Yeah, breathe it in.
An eccentric man. Yeah.
He knows how to really lean into being a character actor. I'll tell you that.
Yes. Anyway,
let's do this because honestly, this has been a very slow year for Star Wars.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest. We're gonna spend the bulk of our time. Yes, we're going to spend the bulk of our time talking about Andor Season 2 and Andor as a whole because, I mean, that's probably been one of the biggest and most best and most important thing Star Wars has done
Yes.
in a long time, period. But there's just also hasn't been a lot of else. There hasn't been a lot of new content necessarily. There hasn't been a lot of epic news. But let's start with the news, upcoming releases, stuff that's coming soon. A few I wanted to talk about. So,
well, yeah, I need some help here because stuff's on, it's off.
I know
it's happening. It's not happening. What is happening?
We go through this every year, and we're always like, "Here's the new things that are going to happen," and then they don't end up happening.
Lies,
betrayal. And so, celebration is there's always the Star Wars celebration every. I think they do it every 2-3 years, something like that. But it's it's like the big convention for Star Wars essentially. This year they had Celebration 2025 where they did some big announcements, and we'll talk through most of those. But really the only major ones that are kind of new and were not something that we had kind of talked about before, which is all still just like sitting on back burners, which including the Rogue Squadron movie, which still seems to be just kind of sitting out there without any real movement. Ryan, what's his name? Ryan Johnson. Is that his name? Ryan
Johnson, yeah.
His trilogy that he supposedly was going to be doing is still Taika Waititi's solo film.
Yeah.
I think the guys from Game of Thrones, Benioff and Weiss, supposedly were. I think that finally did get canceled, but there's a lot of stuff still up in the air that is we don't know if it's happening or not.
We don't know.
The only stuff we do know is that we do have the Mandalorian and Grogu movie coming out.
Yes.
This coming year,
it has a trailer.
It has a trailer. We'll talk about that again in a moment. But the only other major stuff that was announced that hasn't already come to pass or that we didn't already kind of know was a new film called Star Wars Starfighter.
Yes.
Starring Ryan Gosling.
Yes.
Very little known about this. Like one picture was released.
Do we have a picture of them out in the sea somewhere?
That looks like something out of a still like a Waterworld.
Waterworld. Yes,
like
that's where I was going to go.
Reboot or something, where it's like him and this younger teenage kid or whatever, just kind of sitting there staring at the screen or whatever.
And there's nothing in it. Like you can't glean anything from it.
There's nothing to. We don't know anything about it. We don't know any details of the plot or anything.
Do we know where this sits in the timeline? Do we have anything?
I don't think.
We got nothing.
I recall we've even had.
Well, he's like a red leader, I think.
I feel like it's somewhere post original trilogy still, but maybe
post original
sequel trilogy.
Okay.
So somewhere between 6 and 7, maybe. I don't know. I don't even know if that has if I'm right about that either.
Who's that guy? The dead Sean Levy is the director.
Yes,
that's
he did
cool.
Deadpool and Wolverine. What else? He done the Night of the Museum movies. He's done a few things.
So what's the reaction?
This seems like it's a movie that actually is going to happen because they've actually at least gotten to the casting phase.
They don't put Ryan Gosling in something and not do it.
Right. I don't think you would make that announcement of him as the lead.
Yeah.
Without
Matt
doing
Smith,
something.
Mia Goth's having a huge decade, it feels.
Yeah.
So I'm excited. I love Ryan Gosling. He's aside from Star Wars, he's in Project Hail Mary, which the movie version of Andy Weir's book, and I'm like so excited for that.
Amy Adams, reportedly playing the mother of the characters. Okay, so here's what it says. Gosling is playing a new character, Flynn Gray, and will reportedly play he's playing a new character. Flynn Gray will reportedly play his nephew, and Amy Adams will reportedly play the latter's mother. Mia Goth and Matt Smith are down to portray baddies of some sort, and the whole thing is described as an original adventure set in a period we haven't seen explored yet. It says, okay, I take it back. It does have a time. The new entry has been placed 5 years after the rise of Skywalker.
The movie, The Rise of Skywalker.
Yes.
Okay.
So all that happened.
That timeline.
And now we got 5 years.
5 years later is when we're getting this story.
Can we insert the map here so I can remember what happened? So that's the most. Rise of Skywalker is Rey, right? That's the end of Rey's saga.
That is the farthest forward that we've had yet in official Star Wars canon.
Really? When was Ahsoka?
Ahsoka is still between. It's the same as the Mandalorian in that time period between originals and the sequel trilogy.
Okay.
We've done nothing post.
For some reason, I thought
sequel trilogy.
we had consumed something past that, but I guess I'm wrong.
So this will be
because I don't think Skeleton Crew is.
I didn't consume that.
I feel like that was. Oh, maybe that is post.
I don't know. I just felt like that was kind of filler, and I didn't even.
You didn't even watch it?
No, with Jude Law. Is that what that was? Yeah.
So what do we think about Ryan here as you're looking that
Well, I mean,
up?
I like Ryan
do we
Gosling.
like this
I think he's a
as
great actor. Like, I think he's been in a lot of stuff that I find fun and enjoyable to watch. I mean,
Yeah.
Sam, you approve?
Yeah, I think he's definitely like, I mean, look at like Blade Runner and like all these like
Sci-fi
things. Yeah, he definitely fits the mold.
Okay.
And yeah, I mean, you know, it's like I don't
He's
want
just not a hottie that we put in there to,
Wait.
get ratings. What?
He's
Did
a
I say
hottie?
that?
No, he's saying he's not just
Not
being-
just.
Oh, you're
I'm
saying
sure there
not
is
hot
some,
enough for Dean.
I'm sure there is some consideration of the fact that, like, hey, we might get a few additional butts in the seats.
There you go.
Or a few ladies that will come with their husbands and boyfriends because they
My
want to see
daughter
Ryan.
might go who knows nothing about Star Wars.
Let's put it this way: if Ryan Gosling takes his shirt off in the trailer, I
Oh, boy.
promise you, the opening weekend box office will be like, you know,
man.
But then is that a
300 million or
sellout? Is that
something.
like, come on, like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
We can't
I know.
hotify
That's fair.
Star Wars. A bunch of people are going to be really mad.
Well,
look.
this is all hypothetical.
Sam, come on. At this point, it doesn't matter what you do in Star Wars, people are going to be mad.
That's true.
It truly does not
True.
matter at this point.
You would just be
True.
adding one way or the other
Yeah.
to some.
True.
Yes. Okay. So
I'm gonna
anyway,
turn it into a
we like
rom-com.
Ryan.
So whatever, you know, it's coming. More to
We don't know anything about it. We got one picture.
Yeah,
That's
we
it.
don't have a firm release date or anything yet. So
It
we'll
says
see.
here 2027-ish.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
that's far
okay.
enough out that.
We've been setting release dates
I
for Star
know.
Wars
Yeah.
stuff
Yes, I
for
understand.
like 4 or 5 years now. That has
I
not come to
understand.
pass. So
Yeah.
I'll believe it once when I
When you
see
see
a
a trailer,
trailer.
okay, then
That's
you
when I
believe?
believe it. Yes.
Okay,
Like
fair.
I've been
That's fair.
skeptical about this Mandalorian and Grogu movie until the
you
trailer
saw the
finally
trailer.
came
Yes.
out.
Yes.
So
We
that-
need some explaining on that one. But anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, so that was you know probably one of the biggest announcements. We'll get into some of the other stuff that was announced there at Celebration, but that was like the big movie news, I guess. Another piece of interesting news that came out this year was that apparently there were plans for a scrapped Adam Driver starring Ben Solo / Kylo Ren spinoff film
Yep.
called The Search for Ben Solo.
Yes.
Which The Hunt for Ben Solo, my bad, which we don't have a lot of details other than Steven Soderbergh was going to direct it. He of the Oceans franchise, among dozens of other, you know, interesting and amazing films over the years. Very prestigious director, probably one of the most prestigious directors to ever do a Star Wars film easily. I mean, would be a different tier than what we
I got you.
typically
Yeah, yeah,
expect, you know, from this franchise.
However, dun dun dun.
However, apparently the movie was scrapped, and they were told to be very secretive and quiet about it for a while. And finally, the word just got out recently. People
Well, no,
started
he got
talking
on
about
X
this.
and started.
He started.
Kind of blew it up.
Kind of just putting it out there and saying, "Hey, this was supposed to happen. It didn't happen." We again don't have a lot of details about exactly what this was going to be about. Sam, I'm going to ask your point of view here because I'm not a big fan of the sequel movies, and I thought, you know, Kylo Ben is fine. Would you have been interested in this movie? Does this make you as mad as it does seem other people that we're not getting this?
I don't care. I feel like there were too many people, and I think this happens a lot. It's definitely happened with Andor. I feel like just in like media that I consume outside of shows and the movies and things like that, kind of breaking it down. But too many people were like romanticizing or shipping rather like Rey, Ben Solo, like Kylo like thing. And I'm like, oh God, like weird. They're kind of maybe related through the Force. So like, what is that? Like, can we please not have them date or anything? Like, I don't want that. But
so you're not a Reylo stan.
no, I'm not a Reylo. Like, I'm honestly not. Yeah, like, ew, gross. But no, I think just how things, and I think I've definitely mentioned this before. Like, there's so many other ways to consume this media, and why put billions of dollars, millions of dollars into a movie that's probably not going to be very good. Sorry. And just, you know, give that money to like a publishing house and be like, yeah, we're going to write a series of books instead, because that exists. Like the Knights of the New Republic is a really good series, and they've put a lot of money into it, and they put a lot of thought, and they have a lot of guest writers and things like that. And I'm like, that's awesome. And I mean, one, you're promoting literacy, which is great. And two, because we need it. But no, I just think that's a way better use of time. Not as much money is going into it, and you can go crazy and make Adam Driver be the audiobook narrator for if you do an audiobook version of it or something like that.
I think this kind of speaks to the bigger problem that we're having with Star Wars right now, and the reason why that we have not had a new movie since 2019. You know, when we thought we were going to start getting
too many
movies, like,
options
every year. No, I just think I think Star Wars has become such an unwieldy monster that Disney and the people who are making this stuff can't figure out how to make something that is going to generate the kind of money they need to justify making it.
Yeah.
Because I feel like we're at a point where the expectation is, well, you can't put a Star Wars movie out that was made for any less than like $200 or $300 million, which means the expectation is that especially after marketing, all that stuff's factored in, that it's got to make at least $1 billion.
Yeah, well, look at
It's got to be one of the top like
Worldwide
20
billion.
films of all time.
Right.
Every time a new Star Wars movie comes out now,
Where was it
It's
at?
got to have, which means it's got to have mass appeal.
Yeah.
And I
people
just
who
think
So
want
now we're
it's
gun
difficult.
shy is what
Yeah.
you're saying. Yeah.
It's kind of unlike, like the Marvel model. Like people would point to that, say like, well, Marvel managed to put out all these like huge, blockbuster movies year after year for a long time. All the Marvel started to fall off, obviously, in recent times. And
But they're basing it off
I'm
of
very curious to see what happens with Avengers. But yeah, it's,
The
to your point,
comics.
it's based off of existing content that they can pull from.
They're just, yeah.
And they're also willing to take a lot of risks and acknowledge that, like, hey, some of this stuff is going to work better than others. It is okay if we. I think it was okay for Marvel to be like, hey, guess what? We're going to put out a movie about the Guardians of the Galaxy. You have never heard of the Guardians of the Galaxy, so you have no expectations about what to expect out of them. And it did well because people didn't know what to expect.
Got it.
I think, unfortunately, Star Wars, the brand, has an expectation right now that a lot of people are going to be disappointed if it's not exactly what they expect it to be.
Yeah.
I don't feel like there's unfortunately room for a Star Wars movie that is not what everyone thinks it's supposed to be. And I think that's become a little bit of like creative paralysis.
Well, you just made an argument for
franchise.
Starfighter. I mean, basically, right?
It's true.
Yeah.
Which, and honestly, to me, it was an argument for, I don't care about a Kylo Ren Ben Solo movie necessarily. But,
It's dead.
But having
Wow.
a
It's
Steven,
dead.
but
Wow.
having a Steven Soderbergh
Yes.
do a film,
Yes.
having a prestigious
Do we know what it was
director,
going to be about?
Not
We don't
really.
care. You don't even care.
There was not a lot of details that came out
Probably
about
like
that, no.
his
Like
his
his character arc?
temptations.
Yeah.
Well,
his-
apparently it was supposed to be a sequel, though, and that was part of the problem. Is Disney was
Sequel
like,
to
Like as a ghost?
Disney's like, how does this work? Because how is he supposed to be alive? Because he
Yeah.
died at
We're
the
doing
end of Rise of
flashbacks.
Skywalker, right?
Yeah.
So I don't. I mean, but it's the Force. Who knows? I mean, yeah, exactly.
No
Anything
one's
could
ever
happen.
really dead, are they?
I mean, Rey
got
technically
it.
died at the end of that movie too, and Kylo Ben brought her back. You know?
Died?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes, when
he
they
used
kissed
that-
each other.
Yeah.
God, get a room. I'm not interested.
So I don't know. To me like it is the eternal problem of Star Wars right now.
Would
which
you have
is-
gone to this had it been produced?
Well, okay.
Or would you
I
have
don't
been
know if
negative
I don't know if
Nancy
you were
like
listening to my
Sam over here?
monologue, but I
Hey,
am.
I would like to say
yeah.
I am
you're in.
chained.
Yes,
I am
you're chained.
to
Yes,
loving Star
yes.
I'm a realist. I'm a realist, okay?
Like I get to every time it's the X anniversary of Star Wars. I'm like, that's how old I am. You know,
Yes.
so like I'm forever chained to
I
this
need the
franchise.
$300 shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So yes, I would of course would have went to see it, but I guess I just wouldn't have.
Well,
had very
because
high
this is not
expectations.
happening, we don't have anything for at least another year and a half.
Well, we have the Mandalorian Grogu,
Yes.
which
Okay.
is
Oh, that's fair.
like
That's
6
fair.
months or so.
All right,
but but to your point, after that,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I don't think because Starfighter says 27. Does that mean it's going to happen? I don't honestly know yet. Like, I don't feel like things are as locked in as again, like how the Marvel franchise has kind of been locking stuff in for the most part. And, I don't know. So TBD if that was ever necessary, and maybe we'll get that story somewhere else, and maybe it actually will be of use. But to your point, Sam, I would be much more interested in just give me a book about the hunt for Ben Solo and than necessarily a movie. You know,
I wonder how long, it's like drama, right? But like, I think I heard somewhere, and this could be totally false, that Pedro Pascal quit the Avengers Doomsday movie. I guess he had like a meltdown or something. I don't know.
well, I mean,
actors.
Richards got to be in it, right? Fantastic Four's in it.
Right. But I'm just like, that's Disney, the whole,
Yeah.
is he done with Star Wars? I read somewhere too that Oscar Isaac is done with Moon Knight when he was in
Yeah,
that.
apparently that's never going to be resurrected.
Which sucks because, an aside, I totally loved that. I thought that was great.
Those are right.
Ouch. I love an unreliable narrator. So I think anytime I get totally whoa, what the heck?
Isn't Pedro has to be done? No?
I think he's done. I think he's done with Disney. But I mean, I guess just one of those things is is he ever going to take off the mask?
I gotcha.
Or the helmet? Like, does he even really need to be there? I mean, they can probably just.
Well, I mean, he did it a couple times in the series, you know.
Right. I'm just
Like
saying.
he makes one appearance like every season without the
Right.
helmet. But yes, he's mostly just been doing voice work for most
because
of
I
the
think that's
series.
just his like.
Like, I don't
stunt
think he's
double.
typically in the suit.
No. Yeah. I mean, I can't imagine that's very comfortable. But
Which I'm going to assume, because although I think it would actually, let's shift over to Mandalorian and Grogu and talk about that. I think it would be hilarious if he doesn't take his helmet off that entire movie.
yeah.
Because, you know, like Pedro Pascal is, you know, one of the hottest actors in Hollywood right now. He's been
Yeah.
in everything lately,
Yeah.
you know, and he's, you know, a
having his
bit
moment.
of a heartthrob type actor or whatever at this
Yeah.
point. Like, I think it would be hilarious if they're just like, nope, we're just going to keep this handsome man's face just covered
Yep,
the entire
covered
movie.
the whole
Like,
time.
I mean, which is what
Maybe.
they've, again, kind of been doing in the series. Like, he's
Yeah.
only made actual appearances a couple times in
Yeah.
the series.
Yeah.
I think it would be absolutely hilarious if he never takes off the helmet the entire movie.
I mean, honestly, yeah, probably.
I
But
would honestly like, regardless of how the movie turns out, I think I would applaud it just for that, just for making that bold move of just like, nope, we're not going to do this.
he's probably said enough things like in the show that they could just, reuse them.
Well, true, yeah.
I wonder if I can bet on that. Like,
I promise you
FanDuel
can.
or something
I'm
like
sure
that.
there's-
Yes,
You can
right?
bet on it.
I'm sure you can.
Anything.
Vegas probably has odds on it. All right, so let's talk Mandalorian Grogu, though. So the trailer was recently released, a little teaser trailer, not a big deal one. Doesn't really tell you a lot of what the story is going to be about.
Jeremy Allen White is one of the Huts.
That's right.
It's just crazy.
Yeah, which is nuts. I mean, I'm assuming it's a voice role.
Yeah. No.
Are we excited about this movie?
No. I'm sorry.
Are you?
Yes, because I like the Mandalorian
I do too.
character and the whole thing. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know why, but I like the little guy.
Yeah.
Although I was disappointed.
I don't know if that's actually Babu Frick or not or whatever. Is that what his name?
Yeah.
Yeah, Babu Frick.
But, anyway.
Because again, this is still about 25 years before.
But Sigourney Weaver, so that's pretty cool.
Okay. Yes. Marco, we haven't let you weigh in here yet, bud. What are your Mandalorian Grogu? You've seen the trailer. What do you think? Are you interested in this?
Do we know what the story is yet?
No.
Yeah,
No.
that's the problem. I think that's the problem.
Well, they're out on an adventure. No, I don't know what they're doing.
It just says an exciting new adventure.
Yeah. Exciting new
Yeah.
adventure.
But the trailer. We got AT-ATs blowing up. We've
do.
got plenty of cute little
Which is
Grogu
always cool.
silliness.
When that happens, doesn't that bring back a little bit of warmth from your childhood?
It does.
See?
Look. I'm not trying to be a pessimist on this movie because again, I will be there opening weekend watching this movie. I'll be
Yes.
taking my kiddo with me.
Of course.
I guess I'm just. I don't know. I just don't see the vision, and the trailer didn't give me any sense of anything epic. Here.
Okay.
How long is it?
Marco,
do we
sorry, I
know?
mean to interrupt you.
No, I agree with what you just said.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just like I don't know. It's like it's there, but and I guess also because the way season 3 of the show ended didn't really have any kind of a natural lead into the movie. It's more or less
Right.
just like, hey, we've resolved our current conflicts and dealt with whatever we need to deal with over the last few years, and now they're kind of just chilling and figuring out the next step of the bounty hunter life. Essentially.
Could this open up new parts of the Star Wars universe in any way?
Maybe. I don't know.
Doesn't that excite
see,
you?
here-
That potential?
But here's the other part of this because we also
because
still have
Grogu's going to have to go off and do something, right? I mean,
we also still have the dangling thread of this supposed wrap-up Dave Filoni movie that he's supposedly working on that will wrap up all the threads of this era of Star Wars. So The Mandalorian, Boba Fett,
I was unaware
Ahsoka,
of that.
all this stuff's happening around this same time period. And I'm assuming this movie is going to be about Thrawn coming back to the Star Wars universe proper and trying to reignite the Empire or whatever. I'm gonna assume there's a Thrawn storyline that's building to that movie.
but that wasn't in the trailer at all.
No, because this supposedly has nothing to do with that.
Oh.
Like, again, I don't know for sure.
Got it.
This was planned and conceived and worked on. That was not supposed to be anything to do with that. Like that's supposed to be a culmination of
I see what you're saying.
all the
Yes.
series stuff that's been going on.
Got
Whereas this is just, hey, I guess what it is for me is this movie feels like, all right, The Mandalorian has been the biggest and hottest thing that we have done in Star Wars since the end of the sequel trilogy was done.
For the last 4, yeah, right.
We've got to keep building on the momentum. Everybody loves Grogu. They think he's cute. We sold tons of merchandise with that little thing's face all over it.
Yep.
We got to put a movie out.
Yep.
And I'm a little nervous that's to me is what this movie kind of feels a little bit like. But
that
I'm also like, all right, it's directed by Jon Favreau. He, and Dave Filoni was also part of this or whatever. They've they've been the stewards of the best parts of Star Wars, I think, for most of the last few years. I'm okay on that front.
I'm on IMDb.
Sam's over there doing some deep research.
Sorry, I'm dialing in. I'm doing some. I'm just looking on IMDb, and apparently the jury's out on. It's like pretty 50-50 split. I guess just like influencers or YouTubers or journalists maybe debating on if the Mandalorian and Grogu is either going to save Star Wars or like not save Star Wars. And I'm like, I'm trying
That's
to
a lot
like.
of weight to put on one movie's shoulders.
Yes.
I'm trying to check my sources and make sure none of these are coming from like total basket cases or anything. But it's just kind of interesting to see people's opinion, just what they think. Why? But I think it is like, that is a lot of pressure
is.
A movie that's a lot of pressure for Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau and all of them to like.
And I get it, because this is the first film in it will be 7 years. And at a time we went 2019 was when Rise of Skywalker came out. Like we went through a phase where we were getting a Star Wars movie essentially every year for about 5 or 6 years. And I just kind of assumed it was going to be like the Marvel model. We were just going to see at least one, if not more, every single year practically. And I mean, let's be honest, Rise of Skywalker kind of killed the momentum for the theatrical releases for a little while. Probably justified. I mean, the pandemic didn't hurt either, but there was nothing planned for that year anyway. Like
writer strikes.
There never was a real plan.
And SAG stuff and
we've had so much, start and stops that. I mean, I guess this is probably the absolute safest choice. I guess that is why this movie is the next one coming, because again, Mandalorian has been a wild success. And has been the most talked about Star Wars thing. I know we're going to talk a lot about Andor, and Andor is critically acclaimed, but I would argue that probably the mass public is not as privy to Andor as they are to a lot of the other Mandalorian.
For sure.
So to me, this
because
is probably...
there's no cute little character.
Right. This is the safest option, is to get this movie in theaters at this point. If you're going to find a way
business
to
perspective,
reignite an interest in Star Wars on the big screen, this is probably the safest bet to do it. Which again also makes it the riskiest bet. And
for sure. Well, hey,
you may run the risk of it being like not edgy or not edgy, but like not dynamic and new and interesting enough.
I don't think anything could kill the franchise at this point.
No, I don't think so.
You might ebb and flow. You might have good and bad, but nothing's gonna.
And we talked about it last year that I kind of like. I'm of the point where I'm like, I think a lot of the TV stuff, it might be the future of Star Wars. It might actually be a better option.
And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, look at all the effort. I mean, essentially one episode of Andor was like one movie.
It was I mean,
like the production value.
Yeah, the budget for that series as a whole was more than than any one of the films.
I just got like 8 movies in one season, and I'm like, okay, thanks.
Yeah,
don't have to leave my house. Awesome.
This rules.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Anyway, I am looking forward to it, but just because I'm a sucker for the little guy.
I'm not trying to be the negative guy here or whatever. I'm cautiously optimistic, and I would rather go in and be like, wow, that blew my expectations out of the water, than go in and be like, yeah, this is the greatest thing ever, and then walk out again feeling like Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
Somehow that movie exists.
Yeah. I think someone needs to die. I don't want to be like negative like that, but like
Mando?
truly, it feels like
Mando needs.
Well, I mean,
to die?
you can't kill Grogu. I mean,
you can, I guess, but like it's like
that would be epic.
How have they escaped so many of these like life altering
But see again, if the presumption is that we're going to get that Filoni wrap up movie in 2 or 3 more years, I don't know how you not have Mando as part of that.
I see. So Mando has to.
He passes on the Beskar whatever thing to Grogu. Yeah, Grogu's just carrying around a freaking
that would be awesome
sword.
If like the Mandalorian season 4 is just Grogu running around with the helmet on and the sword. I mean, he's got his own armor now, doesn't he?
Yeah.
It's chainmail.
Well, chainmail.
It still works.
Yeah. Just give him that staff thing.
Oh man, that would be fantastic.
That would be fantastic.
Actually, I would actually watch that.
Doesn't Grogu have the power, though, to bring Mando back if something happened to him?
Well, apparently now in established continuity, yes.
Yes, that's what I'm
saying.
Bringing things
back from the dead is now a thing.
Force healing.
Yes. Yeah, force healing. There you go.
Oh, take him out. God.
Oh,
I feel like he would need to like have at least like a whole bag of Cheetos or something after that. Like, I mean, he needs to get his like energy up. Like,
That's true. Yeah.
He's eating popcorn in the trailer. So
Oh, shoot.
anyway, yeah.
I'm sure it's like bantha corn or something like that.
Yeah. Puffs.
And they're gonna and again it'll get marketed like it'll be like Cheetos
Yes.
presents Grogu puffs or something like
Yes,
that.
yes.
It's like green Cheetos.
Yeah. Well, they just did that. Talkies just did that for Wicked.
Hey, I'm giving ideas away here for free, Lucasfilm. Come on,
Yeah, right?
Disney, send some cash my way. All right.
Yeah.
I said it here on this
Trademark
podcast
it right
first.
now.
December 4th, 2025. This guy said it. It's on the record. All right. Let's talk about some of the actual Star Wars content that did come out this year. And apparently this is going to be a lopsided me talking about a lot of this at first.
Yes.
Because I think the two of you have only watched Andor.
Yeah.
Yes.
Educate the class.
Okay.
Sorry, yes.
So I will give a very... Did you watch Skeleton Crew?
Nope.
Okay. Marco, did you watch any of this?
Maybe one.
Have you watched any of them but Andor? All right. Then I'm going to just very quickly run through this. Skeleton Crew. I have very vague memories of this because this actually started, I think, late 24. It was after we had filmed.
It was like December.
Yeah, I think it was after we had done our... It may have just started when we had filmed our episode last year, our Star Wars episode last year. Basically, so I did check the time frame. It is in that 5 years after Return of the Jedi. So it's around that same time period. And basically, it's like a Goonies-style Star Wars adventure.
Oh, my.
Very... I'm not saying it's bad. It actually was a fun but very frivolous show. Like if you're someone that's like deep in Star Wars canon and lore, there's not going to be much of anything that's of any use in this show for you. But if you're just looking for a fun, goofy, kind of family friendly that feels like a 1980s Goonies ET style
Really?
adventure,
Okay.
this has that vibe. Which is basically like you got a bunch of kids living on this planet that you find out is very cut off from the rest of the Star Wars galaxy.
Okay.
Like quite literally like a barriers around the planet cutting things off. And some of the kids come across an old ship from like the days of the Old Republic, I believe, and manage to launch it and take off into space. And along the way, find a bunch of pirates, space pirates, led
I
by
did see these.
Jude Law.
Yeah, I saw some of this already. Yes, I did see some of this.
Okay.
I apologize.
No, it's fine. And go on this adventure
Yes.
where eventually leading to finding out what their planet actually is and what
Yes.
happened there. There was a belief and an expectation this was going to be, again, some big, huge reveal as part of Star Wars lore. It really was not. I won't give any spoilers if you guys actually want to watch this at some point. I thought the show was fine. It was fun. I don't know that I would ever watch it again. I don't need more of it. I don't need another season of it. Jude Law, I thought was, kind of fun. Like he has kind of a campy, goofy vibe.
Yeah.
There's some lightsabers. There's a little bit of force power stuff in it if you like that, but not really any Jedi or anything.
So were these force sensitive kids? Is that the?
I think maybe one of them was.
So were they like ever like running from Inquisitors or anything?
No. This was no. Like again, there
Just
was
kinda like
there
a
was very little. It was
ragtag.
like a pirate adventure story.
Yeah, but when
set
they
in the
landed
Star
on
Wars
that
universe.
planet, there was some stuff going on there. I mean, it was like I forget what it was. I don't know.
The planet where
I don't know
where
that they
fighting
were
was going
Inquisitors.
on or
Yeah.
whatever. No, that was just like some. Okay,
They were in
I'll give
harm's
mild
way.
spoilers. Basically, there was a bunch of planets apparently that were set up to be like the bank planets.
The
like
bank?
hidden planets that had like reserves of
Money?
gold or
okay.
whatever credits or whatever.
Yes.
That the Republic
Credits,
could
yes.
use.
Yes.
And I guess they kept them hidden and contained so that people would not be able to find them and bust into them.
All right.
But then when the Republic fell, their access was cut off, and like basically like AI computers were left running these planets, and just their job was just protect the planet and keep it safe and don't let anyone in here. And so these pirates are essentially just trying to go find the gold.
What they can, yes.
Again, it's a pirate story.
Yeah.
And like I think that other planet that they visit at some point, like that one had evolved in a different way where all the kids essentially were just fighting a big war with one another because they didn't know any different.
Okay. Got it.
I don't know. Yeah. It was
So we're never going to
fun,
see
frivolous.
these characters again.
I seriously doubt
Yeah.
it. No.
Okay.
I think this was a
This was
one-off
just
kind of
a little-
thing.
okay.
And, yeah.
A
Fun for what it
snackable
is.
little series over here.
There you
Got
go.
it. Yeah. Okay.
On the animation front, we had two short series this year. Tales of the Underworld, which continues these very short little mini episode, like they did Tales of the Empire, Tales of the Jedi.
I did consume that, the one
Okay.
on Cad Bane, which was very interesting.
Yeah, so Tales of the Underworld had 2 3-episode arcs, one featuring Asajj Ventress, who's if you have not been immersed in the world of, well, for Cad Bane for that matter too, for the most part, if you've not been immersed in the animated world of Star Wars, the Clone Wars and Rebels cartoons, you probably don't know these characters anyway. Saz Ventress was one of Count Dooku's acolytes, like one of his apprentices, who kind of got cast aside and went off on her own, appears all throughout some of these different series. This was basically just kind of following up on her post-Clone Wars, I guess, where she was. And then a Cad Bane story, which essentially tells the origin of this blue bounty hunter guy that was very popular in Rebels and Bad Batch and Clone Wars. Briefly made an appearance in Mandalorian season. Or no, was that?
No, it was
It was a Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah, when they had their little standoff. I think so. That could be wrong.
No, it was.
No, it was Boba Fett.
You're right. It was because it was when Mandalorian came into Boba Fett.
You know whose show was it?
Yeah, Mandalorian 2.5 is all that was.
My goodness.
Anyway, I mean, Sam, you said you watched. This is just for the purists.
Yeah, I mean, I like the backstory, and for a lot of these like Tales of the Underworld ones, it's like it definitely humanizes them and makes you feel like, oh man, they really were coming from like hard times, and maybe it is kind of like reasons why they joined such an oppressive militant force or whatever was just because they were just trying to survive.
Remember like Tales of the Empire, or no, not Tales of the Empire, it was Tales of the Jedi, had like Count Dooku's backstory.
Tales of the Sith.
How he fell from being a Jedi, knight into
a good guy
to the dark side. And you kind of feel a little bit empathetic for him because he kind of was just railing against the Jedi's folly of the time and their strict.
Well, they were very like bureaucratic and
exactly
stupid.
So nothing, again, if you're a purist, watch it. If you're not, it's inconsequential.
And it's very quick. Like, God, I feel like they were like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Like each episode.
I think so.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Like
wow.
You can get through,
watched it
you can
so
get through
quick.
all of them in one night easily.
Yeah.
Oh, geez. Okay.
Just a couple hours and you can watch all 6 of them. So.
And it's just, kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Then there was a just recently released season 3 of Star Wars Visions, which this is the kind of non-canonical, basically allowing some popular anime studios to create Star Wars content, where they essentially just get to use Star Wars as kind of a play, like a playground sandbox kind of thing, and just like, hey, go create a story that's kind of Star Wars adjacent or sort of set in a Star Wars world, but doesn't necessarily have to be constrained by actual canon or real events, So some of the episodes, completely shake things up and change the way things look and feel. Some of them seem like they could easily be dropped somewhere into the Star Wars universe, but artificial. I have not finished watching all this season. I started binging it a little bit last week and trying to get through some of them. There's a lot of sequels to stuff from the first season. So probably what I thought was the best episode of Vision season 1 was the 9th Jedi, which was like a far future, like kind of like could be canonical, but was essentially considered as like the far future of Star Wars, where the Jedi and Sith are like not really a thing anymore. Just like talked about as if, in reverent history. So that was, I thought, a good story. But there's a sequel to that in this season that I did not think was interesting at all compared to that first one. And apparently there's rumors there might be a spin-off series about that timeline. I don't know. And then there was the episode that I've liked the most so far that I've watched this new batch.
Duel?
Well, that was pretty good. The Duel Payback was, because that was the first episode of the whole series, was like that kind of like Japanese samurai black
Was that
and
a
white.
sequel too from the first season?
Yes. So it almost picks up like almost directly after that.
Cool.
But there's also a sequel that the episode I watched last night that I actually enjoyed was called The Lost Ones, which I did not realize even was a sequel to an episode called The Village Bride from the first season.
I remember. That was like really sad. The first one.
So this one picked up a character from that and a new story. It was a cool, good, simple, short story. I mean, these are all short. They're all like, 10 to 20 minutes long each.
Yep.
Again, if you're a completist, if you just love all things Star Wars, you can check out Visions as well. All right. We're done with the stuff that no one else watches but me because I'm an addict. Let's talk about Andor. And I think, when we talked about the first season, we talked a lot about it then. Season 2 dropped this year. I'm going to honestly say, I think I would put on my Mount Rushmore of Star Wars.
Star Wars more.
You got The Empire Strikes Back.
Yes.
I'll give you the original. And then Rogue One. Andor.
Wow.
Actually, I would probably put Andor right after Empire Strikes
I
Back.
think so too.
Oh,
Like Empire Strikes Back will always be my favorite Star Wars thing ever. I don't think anything's ever going to top of that. I think Andor is probably my next favorite Star Wars creation ever.
Wow.
Yeah, as a
Because
whole.
of the story, the
Yes.
production,
And
all of it.
The story I think is phenomenal. I was actually telling Angie about this yesterday because she's watched a decent amount of Star Wars because her son's big into it, but she hadn't watched Andor. And I said, you don't have to even care about Star Wars to appreciate this show. I think it helps if you are a Star Wars fan, you will absolutely love it. And if for some reason you're a Star Wars fan and haven't watched this show, I don't know what to tell you, but even if you're not,
Well, I don't
think
think you're a
you
fan
could.
then.
I think you could go in and consume this show knowing nothing about Star Wars really at all, or just being if you're just even a slight science fiction fan, or more importantly, if you're just a fan of good drama, this is it.
Do you
This
feel
is
like
a
you got to get
phenomenal
through the
show.
first couple episodes though? Because I remember talking about it at
Now,
the time, and it felt a little slow, and then
agree.
it just got freaking awesome.
I will say, if you can watch it now, where you can binge it, because
Yes.
back then, if you remember, they were only weekly
Yes,
releases.
right.
So that first season was a weekly release, and it is very slow paced the first 3 or 4 episodes until things really get moving. And I went back and re-binged the whole first season before I started watching the second, and I had a newfound appreciation for that first season. Like when you're able to kind of
maybe I
plow
should do
through
that.
episodes without a week in between.
Yeah.
I felt like it moved along at a much better pace.
Okay.
And just felt more like a big, coherent, cool story that I was
Yep.
really into.
Yep.
I do appreciate though this second season they wisely, because there's 12 episodes I think. Yeah. They
I
wisely
thought it was
took
gonna end way
and
sooner, but then the way they had the last one, I was like, oh, that's kind of nice how they kind of
yeah. So they took this last season and they broke it up into 4 chunks of 3 episodes each, where they basically really because each of the 3 episode was an arc that took place in 1 year's timeline.
yeah, a lot of jumping
Before,
around.
but basically we're counting down to the years before the Battle of Yavin to where Rogue One picks up and
Yep.
the movie picks up. I mean, the series literally ends as Andor is on his way into the events of Rogue One, essentially.
Yep.
And I love that they did that kind of thing where you could watch 3 episodes. They told one kind of story at one point in time, a couple years, 2 or 3 years or whatever before Rogue One, and get a piece of that story. And then you waited a week and watched the next 3 that came out. I thought that was a phenomenal way to do this because each of those felt like kind of like a movie, that was telling a full story. But
Do you think they should have made this a movie? Going back to
No.
our earlier conversation. No.
I don't. I think
Needed
this,
to be a series.
because here's the other part of it. I watched Rogue One immediately after I finished Andor. I was like, I've got to watch.
Oh, yeah, right.
Yes.
Just to wrap it
Rogue
up.
One feels like the fastest, most insane movie.
The
When you
smallest-
watch it after the long,
I see.
kind of drawn out character
Yes.
development and the nuance and the
Fair.
all the the epic plot beats of the series,
Yeah.
the movie feels like it's like just
like-
barrels along at light speed.
I feel like I used to say, like, before watching Andor, that Rogue One was like its own standalone thing that you didn't need to know context because it just like explained it for you. And I feel like after having 2 seasons of Andor and then watching Rogue One afterwards, I'm like, there was no world building. Like, we knew virtually nothing. I mean, trying to stay objective, like, you just.
When Rogue One came out, you're saying.
Right, yeah,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I knew so much about
Right.
the franchise, so I was like, I get it. But if I were just like my sister who doesn't care, I think I'd be like, what? Who does any of this? Like, I don't know who these people are, you
Yeah.
know. So then it's like jumping to it. I was like, wow, it was really fast, and it was really like, who are these people? Like, what is going on? Whereas like learning all about Mon Mothma and like her weird cult thing that she was like born into, and then like the weird like not wanting to have her daughter married off at like 12 and just like getting all that backstory. Whereas like we knew of Mon Mothma from the original, but like that was
Which
that
how
was
awesome
really
is that?
it.
Like a character who was just a throw-in random bureaucratic character.
Who?
Mon Mothma.
Mothma?
In what was she in Return of the Jedi? I think she wasn't even in the first 2, was she? I think
no,
it was just
she,
Return of the Jedi.
yeah.
And then this actress basically gets tossed in to portray her in, and I think it was mostly cut out of the prequels.
Yeah.
Like she had some scenes that she filled. The same actress.
She was
Genevieve
just in like
Riley.
some Senate stuff.
Yeah, like I think she's briefly in them, but there was like there was supposed to be like some longer scenes with her in the prequels. That
I think
got
she
cut.
was in like Rebels.
Yeah, she voiced her
And-
character in there.
Yeah.
Because that was okay, again. This is how obsessed I was with Andor and how well I thought this fit into everything. after I watched the episode of Andor where she gives her big speech in the Senate and then has to make her escape, I immediately went and watched the Rebels episode where the characters in Rebels pick her up to take her to the Rebel.
That's interesting. That does connect there.
And you actually get like some of her speech in that.
Yeah.
And then they pick her up and have to help her evade the Empire to get to where the rebels are hiding out on Yavin and deliver her there.
That was so well done.
It's all such it makes
Didn't
such
Cassian
a perfect
get her
little
out of there,
narrative.
though?
He got her off planet. Or he got
you're
her
saying-
out of the capital or out
Yes,
of
yes, yes.
the Senate area or whatever.
Yeah.
But then basically, I think she got on a ship and left, and then the
Then it
rebel
picks up.
characters from Rebels, the cartoon series,
Pick up
Yeah,
from
that
pick
was
her
their
up
mission.
Got it.
and take her
Look at you.
onward. I'm telling you, like that is to me, like I love that there was this seamless kind of chemistry that that kept that story moving through there. But honestly, like I mean, there's just so much to love about Andor season 2. I mean, again, season 1's amazing as well, but like you've got the Gorman massacre.
Yeah.
Oh man.
This, which is something that had been alluded to and referenced in other Star Wars media over the years and never really had a lot of context, but essentially as a kind of a catalyzing event that kind of set off the rebellion really in force and kind of brought it together, which I also love that this season very much was about the idea that the rebellion was not a like a solid concrete effort. It wasn't like it's
No,
just
it's
a
a
bunch of people that are
hodgepodge.
just like we're the rebellion and they all get
Yeah.
together and just go fight the Empire. That it was a bunch of factions that couldn't figure out how to get along, and some of them were even fighting each other. They didn't know how to work together. They had no idea how to create a cohesive unit, which a lot of, I mean, if you think about it, a lot of this feels like what this stuff actually feels like in the real world. When you start making analogies to, to wars and
Sure.
to uprisings over the years. And the Gormans to me were incredibly French, World War II French coded.
Yeah,
I mean, one,
very.
their accents were a little
sounded
bit
very French.
They were.
There's a
Yeah.
little bit of that.
Yeah.
And, and it had a lot of that feel to it. And then, like, I thought that was a huge, amazing, pivotal moment in the series when you get to the inciting incident that, started the Gorman massacre and how that set things off and, compelled Mon Mothma and others to finally stand up. And you get the end of Lucian's story, or Luthien, whatever how his name is spelled. Lucian, yeah. You get the end of no, it is Luthen, isn't it? Yeah.
Luthen, sorry.
Yeah.
my bad.
Lucian is, what is Lucian from? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't
All
know.
these, you know, we're sci-fi and fantasy for long enough. All the names start sounding the same.
Yeah.
But I think one of the things that really I loved about this show is, despite the fact this is a series where how Andor's the story is gonna turn out. Even though like there are times I still felt nervous for him. I was like, wait a minute, I know that he survives this because I know he makes it to Rogue One. He dies then. Spoiler alert.
Wait, what?
I don't know. Again, why are you watching this if you don't know this stuff? But it's like you knew that that Cassian's story was going to end somewhere. But most of the other characters in this...
Bix, yeah.
Yeah, most of the characters in this show, I had no idea what was going to happen to them. So there was a lot of tension in understanding what was going to happen with Luthen, what was going to happen with Bix, what was going to happen with a lot of the other
Brasso.
characters. Yeah, that kind of were helping them out. And
May I ask a couple questions?
Sure.
Do we know much about Luthien before this? I mean, okay.
No, yeah, he was in... Okay,
Was
so
he
I
in
think,
some other
remember
things?
we don't
Well,
know.
we know
If
the
not,
flashback.
then there's an
show-
opportunity to learn more about him.
Yeah,
it's
I
a great
mean, and that's
character.
where you could just plug a book or something, because I think he was just in. It looked like he wasn't it looked like he wasn't a stormtrooper, but he was like
a commander or something.
but he was almost like some sort of militia. They were
Yeah,
definitely killing
yeah.
people. It was
Yeah.
not good.
Right.
Yeah, he was on the wrong side.
He was on the wrong side.
Yeah.
So there's something there, right? You could
And
explore
Clea,
that.
Yeah.
but I mean, I think and I said this. People try so hard to romanticize
Clea,
things.
what a great character
People
there,
were
too.
like, "Oh, Clea is," because I
Wait,
think
who's Clea?
the
She was his
shop attendant.
yeah,
Who was like a
his
badass.
co-conspirator,
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, honestly, she was kind of the leader.
Yeah.
Honestly, she was the
Right.
one
Yeah.
connecting all the wires
Yeah.
and doing all the things.
Yeah,
I
quite
think-
literally. Yeah.
Yeah,
Wait.
literally.
She's not the one at the end though that kills Luthen. That was
Well, she does in the hospital. Yes.
in the hospital. That's the one that's killing.
She didn't want any truth serum to
Right.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
she
announce
knew
anything.
she knew he
okay.
was captured and there was nothing
it
else.
was
to
not.
do,
Okay,
so.
There was
And
nothing
now-
else.
Yep.
Because he was.
Yep.
Yeah,
Which,
he's-
Man, that was a crackerjack episode. Also,
Oh my
Kind of making her
God.
way into the hospital.
Yep.
And
Oh my god.
that's what I love about this show is there was characters that you did not know you were going to care so much about or be so invested in. Like, Clea was kind of like very much a peripheral character for most of the first season, a lot of the second season. You started seeing a little bit more from her. You had that great
and all
episode,
of a sudden,
like with
boom,
the art gallery and stuff or whatever.
Oh my God, that was so. That was the whole.
But then suddenly she's like the most important character of the entire show for like an episode where she has to get into that hospital and
when they
essentially kill her father figure, who rescued her from from a war zone.
When Daedra came and was asking about, I guess, the item or whatever that was on, and then. Oh, it was just, that was so intense. And I thought Daedra did a great, Denise, the actress,
Goff or Go or whatever,
plays a really, really, I always have a lot of empathy for the villains because I'm like, it takes a lot of crazy man or woman power to just play a really good villain. And she was very convincing and
phenomenal.
Just oh my gosh. And just, she was the big bad. And then at the end when, what's his name? The other guy, the bad guy, he
guy from Rogue One,
touches her head like that.
Which apparently that was an improvised scene.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was just something he just decided to do, and her reaction was kind of improvised. Yeah,
oh my God, I'm just an ant. I'm not even an important cog in this machine.
It's fascinating that a character who is a very loathsome character throughout most of the series. You find a little bit of weird empathy and sympathy for at the end there when you realize you are just one more cog.
Like when she's in jail.
Yeah.
I thought she did that really.
You thought you were on top of this world and you were going places and you ended up just being kicked to the side.
The boyfriend, dude, he thought he had a mission. He thought he was important. And then when he kind of connected the dots and he was like, wait a minute, I'm not doing something good for the Empire. I'm actually killing people.
I think that is still one of my favorite sequences also when he is just railing against Andor when he has him captured, cornered.
Yeah. He's
and Andor's looking at him, he's like, who are you?
Yeah.
And I thought that was such a perfect moment.
He was
because,
my
because
problems.
I think this show did a great job of all of the characters, no matter what side they're on, kind of always, it's the way people actually operate, that they always feel like they're the hero of their own story. And I think that was one thing that I thought that this did really well with the Imperial. A lot of the Imperial characters is basically treat them with the understanding of they think they are the good guy and the hero in their story.
But they're just ants.
But they're all just ants, you know? And I think we talked about when we talked about the first season that I love the fact that this show really got into the idea of the Empire as just another bureaucracy. That at the end, because, in the movies, we think of the Empire as this monstrous evil force led by, Emperor Palpatine and Darth Vader, these epic, awful, powerful, all-consuming villains. But in reality, the day-to-day operations of the Empire are just a bunch of peons.
Right.
And I think the season the season opener to Andor season 2, I think really does a great job of illustrating this when Cassian is talking to that Imperial pilot when he's trying to steal that TIE fighter, TIE fighter prototype.
Yeah, she's
and
scared.
she's terrified. And that was one of the monologues that was on that StarWars.com page, which was him giving her this speech about hey, I understand. Because she's sitting there telling him, I know I'm on the wrong side of things, but I have friends here.
Right.
Yeah.
I have a life here.
Yeah. I'm getting meals.
I'm content.
Yeah.
I'm safe and satisfied and content here, which I feel like is so realistic to how people probably do end up in situations where they find themselves on the wrong side of history and on the wrong side of
it's a job.
Wars.
It's
and
paying my bills.
Right.
Yeah, that's right.
And I appreciated that attitude of you are on the wrong side of things, but sometimes you do have to make that stand. And it's understandable. No one blames you. It's easy to cast blame and just look at everybody who's on that side has to be evil. Yeah. And realizing there are still people, some of them are more evil than others, but some of them are just people that are just stuck in a place they can't do anything about, but just go along with it.
Didn't ask to be born here. I didn't ask to be born at all.
So I thought that was fascinating too. It's just stuff like that. And again, if you're not, I don't know that anyone would be listening to this that's not a Star Wars person, but if you are, all these things we're talking about, you could place that kind of storytelling into any. Again, you could place it into an actual story from world history, the real world history, and probably find a similar stories. And I think it's just so magical how well they were able to do that in this world. That and obviously the Star Wars elements of it are amazing too because God, this show looks so good.
Yeah.
It looks better than any of the movies.
So
frankly.
Going back to Deidre, do we think that Is there going to be any more there? We leave her in jail, right?
I think she just rots away for the rest of her life.
Okay, that's what we're doing with her. We're not going to see her again and somewhere down the line.
At best, what may have happened is once the rebellion overthrew the empire.
No, she's in that prison, right?
She's in the prison.
Yeah.
What I'm saying, at best, once the empire falls and the rebellion takes over, the New Republic probably tries her for treason or something, and either I don't know, either leave her in prison or I don't know. Because you get into some of that. Was that in what? That was in. Was it one of the Mandalorian seasons about like the amnesty for some of the Imperial people?
Yeah,
yes.
They made them so that one girl. Oh gosh. Yeah, was it? Yeah, I know what you're talking about. She was like a bad person, and then she got like a New Republic job, and then she kind of like rebelled.
Right.
They did like an MRI.
Because like you basically find out that there's like a sort of there was an amnesty program that like the New Republic put in place for like ex-Imperials where they could kind of
So we have no chance of her flipping and living.
Look, I think
we're done. She's just rotting in jail.
This is my hope at least. Again, there might be some books that tell you some other stuff here and there, but in the canonical Star Wars universe on screen and TV and movie and stuff, I don't know that I ever want to see most of these characters ever again.
Yeah,
I don't need any more about Deirdre at this point.
All right.
I don't need any more. What's his name?
Cyril.
Cyril's dead. I just don't need it.
Cyril's mom.
I guess I could see, and let's talk about because obviously the fans love to watch these shows and be like try to find all the drawing strings between the
Easter eggs
thumbtacks or whatever and find all the Easter eggs. Is everyone's trying to decide is Bix's son?
No.
Okay, that's where I was going to go next.
Is he Poe Dameron? That was one that was a big one people keep saying, which I'm like, no, probably not.
Can you explain to me that scene? So, like, what? Wait, what?
She was pregnant with Andor's child when he sent her away.
Yes,
and she never told him. I think she wanted to, but she never.
He doesn't know. He never knows.
He never knew, right. And that was purposeful on her part because she knew that if he knew, he would
come
quit.
back. Yeah.
He would have left, and she knew that his place was with the rebellion, and that he had a job to do.
So at the end, it was because of
that Force-sensitive woman that had that conversation with the two of them. Oh. And the only hints of the Force you really got in this show.
Yeah.
Because of that conversation, Bix saw that as a premonition that he had a place and a role to play, which he did.
Which he did. Yep.
Things would not have turned out had Cassian not been part of all of this.
Yes.
So she willfully chose not to tell him in order to let him go and fulfill his destiny.
So that was force intervention, a.k.a. divine intervention.
Right.
Yes. So
no, I think that's...
When we see... What?
I think that's silly. I don't think it's Poe Dameron. I think that's literally like a little...
I don't... It doesn't have to be anyone. Again, this goes back to something I've railed against on this many times.
So this
not everyone has to be someone.
We have Bix and Child, and that's it?
No. Maybe he just gets to grow up and just be a kid hanging out on a cool little wheat planet.
Not all Latin American actors are related. It's not... That's not what it is. Okay. Come on.
He doesn't have to be anyone.
So we just have a nice little warm, fuzzy moment in the sense.
That's all you need.
Okay,
yes.
That could have been a girl. Shoot. Girls were blue.
Not every person that appears on screen. Not every person that appears on screen in Star Wars
needs to have a story.
Has to have an epic story and be related somehow to the Skywalkers.
Yeah, but I mean, come on.
There was no
Cassian's
gender reveal.
I mean, that's more than just your average Joe character.
No, he is an average Joe because Cassian was more or less an average Joe.
That's true. That's fair.
Remember, this is a show that is not about Jedi.
That's fair.
It is not about people who have the Force. It is not about people with any extra special powers. It is just about a bunch of people who managed to get together to fight an authoritarian regime that was ruling the galaxy.
Plus, we don't see Bix ever again, and it's not like, I mean, the planet that we're on with like BMO and all those like grain people.
Which thank God we got to see that droid again.
I know, poor guy.
Because I realized like I was watching season 2 and I had not seen the droid since like the first couple episodes, and I'm sitting there thinking like, did something happen to that droid and I missed it?
They would never hurt
because I thought maybe he got blown up in the episode when they were escaping from that planet, and I just did not see it. And I was like, I don't know that I want to see that because I love that droid.
Yeah,
and with him and his little nervous,
that's too much.
Whatever, yeah,
I never want to see a dog killed in media, but I definitely never want to see a droid killed in media. Please do not do that to me.
Please,
they are like barely sentient. Like, don't hurt them. Like, they're doing their best.
All right, Marco, I want you to weigh in here, but we haven't heard from you in a while. Give us some of your thoughts and impressions on Andor as a series, season 2. How did you like it? Because I know I like my Jedi and my Star Wars kind of guy.
Limited
and my lightsabers.
Yeah.
And we didn't have any of that in this. So what did you feel about the show?
I still love the show.
That's great.
I really did.
See,
You know
it's
what
universal.
My favorite part about it was get to see the history of how Cassian and the robot met.
Ah, yes.
I thought that was really cute.
Oh, K2.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
The big boy.
God,
Thank
we
God
haven't
he
even talked
came
about
into the rescue because
Yes, he did. Yeah.
Yeah.
that was stressful.
Yeah.
That was my favorite part of the movie. Show.
Show.
Yeah.
Series. Yes.
Movie as TV show.
Yes.
Yes, K2SO. Man, Alan Tudyk.
He does everything.
So I've been in love with Alan Tudyk as an actor since his Serenity Firefly days.
Oh, he's the voice?
Since he was on Firefly. Yes,
He's Hey and
he
Moana.
does. Yeah, he does voices in so much Disney stuff these days. Like he's a huge voice actor.
Yeah.
Actually, I take it back. I've loved him ever since he was. What's the pirate dude's name from Dodgeball?
Oh, jeez. I don't know.
Is it Greg the pirate? No, what's his? God, I can't remember his name. But he was the pirate in the pirate guy in
I know who you're
Dodgeball.
talking about.
But more importantly, he was Wash in Firefly, which if no one's ever seen that series. You want to talk about one of the greatest short-lived science fiction series of all time. Watch Firefly. It's like 13 episodes of perfection, and they did a movie to wrap things up. It's a great show.
All right.
But yes, he's the voice of K2SO. I was very happy to see him because we had that K2 unit or whatever, one of those Imperial droid things. I don't know what kind of droids those officially are, but we had one appear in season 1. If you remember, we captured Andor when he was thrown into that prison, and I thought that was supposed to be K2SO at first. And that was kind of like a little tease because I think we'd been told that like he was going to appear in the series. It might have been, I don't know, but I love that like that became he became a big character in those last few episodes and.
Yeah, and definitely like I think it's always just kind of like perceived, especially the like droids that talk. They're very like sarcastic but kind of witty, and he was definitely like, "What are you talking about?" Just kind of like pointing out the obvious to be a little turd sometimes.
Yeah, the personality they decided to give him when they reprogrammed it is priceless.
Yes,
that's a cool droid to have around.
Yeah.
All right, any other thoughts on Andor? Anything else you guys want to?
You cleared up my questions. I was a little,
Just so messed up. And I think I, in a lot of ways, but I think I just have so much like appreciation for Bix and like her arc of just when they, her and Cass went on that like murder mission in that like apartment.
Messed her up. And, I felt like there was a point where I felt like Bix was kind of done dirty a little bit in the series. Like I didn't like her arc about like, where she's like kind of messed up and becomes a bit of a drug addict, for a little bit essentially. Like
Oh yeah.
I kind of didn't like that, but then I liked where things ended with her, which typically in a story where you take a woman and sideline her and give her a baby, like that sometimes is usually not a good thing in some stories. Like it's like, it's, I don't know, it does feel like sidelining that kind of character. But for her, I felt like a somewhat satisfying end to her arc because I liked her character a lot, and I felt like there was a lot of trauma that was visited on her through way too much of the series, which is why I was at least happy. Like, at least she got something of a happy ending, even though
in a good place.
she had to lose Cassie, and I think she ends up in a good place. So I was a little more satisfied. But there was a period there in the middle stretch where I was kind of like, I felt like I was like, man, I don't know if I like what they're doing with her because this is also a show that I will say I think has amazing female characters.
Yeah.
Which honestly, many of which kind of carry a lot of the show's weight and really propel the plot. Cassian kind of stumbles his way through a lot of the show, but you've got like Clea, who essentially like single-handedly is bringing the rebellion together into where it needs to be.
And the two spy women, Cinta. And,
yes, you've got the spies, and their story I thought was fantastic and tragic at the same time. Mon Mothma, who we haven't really talked much about, like. I do find her utterly fascinating that she spent so much time just working within the Empire and within the Senate and trying to figure out how can I, I'm all against all of this, but how can I be against it from the inside? And building up to her moment to do what she needed to do in order to kind of set the spark of the rebellion off.
What did you think about the Senator Organa recast? I know it wasn't truly a recast.
Her father? Yeah.
Yeah, well, he was not. It wasn't.
Yeah, because Jimmy Smits wasn't available.
It truly
apparently.
was because he wasn't available.
Benjamin Bratt, is that who it was?
Yeah, but why would you even I don't know. It just felt like such
I guess they had to kind of, because he was part of the founding members of the rebellion.
But also just they've done things before where they Facetune Luke or whatever. Why couldn't they just, and so much had been said.
I don't think I cared as much because it was
just very interesting, I thought.
It is. And it's one of those things that I feel like, again, we as the consumers of all things Star Wars are a little bit jarred by that. Did you even notice?
Nope.
See, exactly.
Yeah.
I think it's the hardcore fans would be like, what? Why'd you change this guy?
Yeah.
Most people are like, whatever. I forgot who the guy was that played him for those 5 minutes of scenes in the prequels as it is.
Yeah. I guess it just seems so important because he just is such a pivotal character and Leia's development and just how things go that way. But
I guess it didn't help also that he had just so recently been in that Obi-Wan series.
Yeah, I know. And
I think if we hadn't seen if we hadn't seen him since the prequels, I mean, I know he did the voice work, I think, in the
he definitely did
shows.
voice work, yeah.
If we hadn't seen him on screen since the prequels, I think it would have even been less jarring.
Yeah, I mean, okay.
But the fact that just a couple years ago he was in a series.
What were you in? I'm dying to know what other piece of whatever he was in that he just couldn't break away for this.
The guy's probably in his 60s by now or so. I mean, he's done his time. Maybe he's just look, I just don't feel like doing a Star Wars this way.
I feel like left and right, actors and Star Wars media get canceled for things. So it's come on, this one's a good one. Please just hang out for us, please.
I think it was. I think if he'd had a much bigger and more vital role in the series, they probably would have made an effort to include him. But I think because they only needed him for a couple episodes and not for an extended amount of screen time, it worked out.
I guess one more question I have. What do you think about Mon Mothma's husband? He was kind of like a drunkard. Wasn't really with her cause or anything. I mean, he was still very the Republic, but
yeah, he's an interesting character because he's a character that you want to just treat as the bad guy because he was sleeping around and
he's like a politician
and he basically he was just kind of like a trophy husband almost is how he treated himself.
Partying.
But they also leaned into the idea that there was a lot of resentment that he had for the fact that she was kind of in this position that she was in and he felt kind of swept along into it
But he didn't complain though either. It was
he didn't either. He's not. I don't think he's meant to be a character that's sympathetic.
No.
But like most of the characters in this show, I feel like he's someone that you can look at and you're like, I can't put you in a box of who you are as a character. And again, I think that's part of why I like this series so much because Star Wars as a whole is very much a light versus dark, good versus evil story. And I feel like some of the better Star Wars stuff has been when there's shades of gray. And I feel like Andor as a series is one big shade of gray. Even Cassian himself, you see him do some absolutely horrific stuff in service to the rebellion and what they're trying to accomplish. And then you see on the Imperial side where again, you're kind of looking at some of them you're on the wrong side of things, but you're also just kind of making do and just getting by to not get yourself killed or thrown into prison, So I think it's a fascinating show in that way where it's filled with characters that you have a hard time deciding, you might be I like you, I don't like you. I know you're supposed to be the character I like and the character I don't like, but you also have to stop and kind of be I could see myself in your shoes and making similar choices and not feeling good about them.
Maybe a class difference too.
Yeah.
They're living in their skyscraper and I don't know about those problems. What are you talking about?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great point too, because clearly the folks in the almost remind me a little like the Hunger Games, the folks in District 1, have the living the privileged life, and have no idea what's happening out in the other districts.
Yeah. Shoot.
Exactly.
West Virginia, I guess.
Yeah. That's kind of what it's like, the folks that live in, and I mean, even on Coruscant itself, I think that's what makes Coruscant itself fascinating because it's this giant city planet. And you've got the people up in the upper echelons that are living the high life.
Yeah.
And you go down a few levels and you're getting into the seedy underbelly.
There is no, this is like a Avatar Last Airbender, but the quote, but it's there is no war in Bossing Say. It's no, what are you talking about? It's like everything's great. Nuts.
I've only seen the awful M. Night Shyamalan movie, and
I got you, Sam.
Okay, thank you.
all right,
He
all
gets
right.
me.
There you go.
It's just like this
It's on my watch agenda, but I've
almost
not gotten to
North
it yet.
Korea kind of vibe of like, what are you talking about? We're a perfect empire.
yeah.
Nothing is wrong
Right,
here.
right.
What are you
Yep.
talking about?
Yep.
We have to completely assume the normal. What are you talking about?
Yeah, like basically like the empire's not great, but whatever,
Yeah,
I'm
right.
doing fine,
Yeah.
Like maybe like just don't be those people that are all
Poor and stuff.
yeah, exactly.
Just do better.
It's the I'm not gonna look at the stuff, the other stuff that's going on, or I'm just literally never being exposed to, the
To
other
it,
stuff
right?
that's
Yeah.
going on.
Yeah.
Because like the
This stuff
Gorman
goes
stuff
on.
or whatever, like
Yeah.
that was something that the Empire was just going to treat as complete propaganda. I mean, like they literally crafted a
they
way
did.
to
Yeah.
to murder a populace just so they could just blow up their planet and get the resources.
They were the
wanted.
rebels,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
They're-
Yeah.
Right.
They're the- yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So great show. I think I will find
Number
myself
2 on your list.
I think I will find myself revisiting Andor quite a lot. Like I like I said, I want to read back and rewatch the first season. It's like, God, this show is so good. And I'm even just talking about it makes you want to go back and rewatch it again. And I don't go back and rewatch a lot these days because
Yeah.
it's just there's so much good content
Right.
to consume. It's
Yeah.
hard to
Yeah.
justify
Rewatching.
going back to something that you've already watched several times.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Yeah, exactly. All right. I don't have a around Blue Star Nation piece for the day, except to say this is our last episode of 2025.
Oh, is it now?
So from all of us here at Blue Star Nation, we want to wish everyone out there happy holidays, Merry
Yes,
Christmas, Happy New Year.
yes.
We will be back in the new year with new episodes of the pod.
Will we?
Got some.
We
Yes.
better start scheduling them now.
I know because
Because my Q1 is like ridiculous.
I will be back.
Yes,
with you.
there it is. There it
Dean
is.
may or may not be here from time to time. We've already set that stage that Dean's just
Yes.
absurdly busy these
Yes,
days
yes, yes,
and is not always going to be available as much as we would like. But I will do my best to carry the torch without you.
Yes.
I just need some good co-guests,
Yeah.
co-hosts,
Yeah.
guest
Absolutely.
hosts from time to time.
Absolutely.
So,
100%.
we got to have the rapport.
Yes,
Like,
yes.
It's not going to be the same without you, but
Yes,
I'll
yeah.
muddle by.
I'll
when
still
I
be
have to.
around. I'll still be around. Yeah.
So new episodes coming in 2026.
Yep.
We look forward to seeing you back then. Of course, as always, though, if you want to know what's going on the show, you want to tell us what stuff you want to hear about in 26.
Yes.
You're thinking like, hey, I'm
a
enjoying
great
this
idea.
podcast. I would like I'd like to hear more about RFID. I want to hear about some digital signage. I want to hear about barcoding. What do you guys think about XYZ? Get some guests on to talk about this. You got to let us know.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yep.
I can come up with topics all
What
the
is the
time.
topic?
Yeah, I can
What's the
grab
burning
people
need?
and bring
Yep.
them on here. I mean, I have no problem doing that.
Will
but-
we both go back to some topics like tariffs or something like that?
We probably
Sorry.
should. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tariffs. Come on. No one wants to hear us talking about tariffs.
Ouch.
That's the last thing anyone wants to hear about
Yes,
us talking about
yes,
the show.
yes, yes,
maybe
yes,
even
yes.
less than Star Wars.
Right.
Oh.
Oh.
I know. We could just do an episode of, all about episode 1, since that was all about tariffs and trade routes anyways.
Yeah.
I have a question though. Are we gonna have a shirt next year?
Ooh.
We should. Yes, I agree.
all right.
We've been woefully without a podcast.
Yeah.
Pitch it to the design team. Have a
Yeah.
little
We've been 1 year
contest.
under Blue Star Nation, and we don't even have a
No
new,
shirt. I
new
have
shirt.
nothing to represent out in the
No,
world.
you're right. That's a failing on my part for
fail.
not
Fail.
lighting some fires under people's butts
Fail.
to do that. But
Fail.
yes, you're right. I think we should throw out a competition for. We got some great designers on the team. We've got
Yes.
some new folks in.
Maybe a
and-
little competition.
Yeah.
Whoever gets
Design our
the
new-
winning design.
new
Or like a
t-shirt.
hat, like a ball cap. That'd be pretty
Ooh,
cool.
I would take that.
All
I'd do
right,
that.
sure, yeah.
Like
I'd
it.
wear one.
Yep.
Shoot.
All right.
There you go. See what's coming in 2026.
Challenge thrown. Marco's the first one to hear it. He can go ahead and get started on putting some
Designing?
ideas
Yes.
together. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
But hey, send your ideas in for the show. Keep in touch with us. Find us on Blue Star's LinkedIn page. We're a good follow there. We do lots of Sam. Shout out Sam. Sam is our social
Yay,
media guru.
Sam. Yes.
Every week, Sam has a little call. She gets to go with a bunch of our folks to talk about some of the fun memes. And
Our resident youth.
so anytime you see
Yes.
something on LinkedIn or Facebook from us that you think is fun and funny, it's probably something that came out of the mind of her or one of our other
Sam's world.
one of the
Sam's
younger folks
world.
on our team. Because the olds like me and Dean, we don't have fun.
We don't understand
cool
that, yeah.
ideas. We're not
That's
in
right.
tune with a lot of that stuff.
Absolutely not.
I just nod along and be like, all right, like here's the fun way we can spin it for Blue Star, but they came up with all the good ideas. So make sure you're giving us a follow. And of course, anytime reach out to us here on the podcast, you can email us nation@bluestarinc.com. All right, let's do a little quick wrap up. I didn't come up with a what's on my radar this week, so I just wanted to talk quickly about what's next because all we really know, other than Mandalorian Grogu next year,
Yes.
we are supposed to be getting season 2 of Ahsoka,
Yes.
which we talked about this before. I didn't
So
think
she's stuck on that planet.
I didn't think season 1 was
You were
as
so
amazing
looking
as
forward to it.
because I love the
I
character.
think your expectation, yes, your character
absolutely.
love was so high.
My love for that character was
Yes.
so phenomenal that the show kind of disappointed me a
Yeah.
bit.
Yeah.
But I'm curious to see where season 2 goes. I don't think we know much about it. She's still
Is it going to
stuck-
come out in 26?
Supposed to, but there's been no official date set. So
Do we know
TBD.
if production is in place?
I believe
We've
they-
gotta have
yes,
worms
I
out
believe,
there that have
I
told
believe
us.
it is in production.
Okay,
They have been
all right.
working on it because I
Is
know
it
they had
Filoni?
they had to they had to recast the
A
guy
guy
that played
died.
Balin
Yeah.
because Ray Stevenson died.
He died.
So they've recast. It's the guy that played the Hound from Game of Thrones.
Yeah, there's so much inner.
Rory not Rory Kinnear. Rory McClellan, I think his name is. God, why do I know this stuff?
You're amazing.
You're
You're not even looking it up. It's just like in your head.
I still have these polls.
If there was a Jeopardy for like random nerd information, you would be the
No, as it
Ken
relates to
Jennings
pop culture.
of
That's
the.
right. Yes.
You are.
You would be. That's
Thanks.
100% right.
Yeah, I think
I'm
it's
gonna
a
I'm going to take that as the compliment that I believe it to be.
Yeah, the Ken Jennings of
I'll
the.
take
Talking to my
world.
wife right now, like, see, people do value this knowledge that I have in my head.
There is importance in my thoughts.
She still to this day makes fun of me for one time when this was early when we were dating and we were sitting out on the deck just chatting over lunch or something like that. And for some reason, I think I made a reference to Aliens, the movie Aliens, and she didn't quite get the reference. So in order to make the reference work and the joke that I told
Yes,
work, I
yes.
basically told her the entire plot of Aliens.
Oh, good Lord.
And like, I get to the end of it, she's just kind of looking at me. She's like, "You just went a very long way in order to explain a joke that I didn't care about to begin with." That is still a running joke between us to this day.
Yes.
That I will go off on these little tangents. It's one of those things I
Yes.
think she finds ultimately adorable.
Quirky about
me,
you,
and
yes,
quirky,
yes, yes,
but
yes.
it's not for everybody, I guess. So, all right. So, Ahsoka season 2 should be coming, and then the other thing is in the animated side is we're getting a Darth Maul series called Shadow Lord with Sam Witwer, who's been voicing Maul for years in
Love
the
him.
other animated projects. That I don't know exactly where this is set. I feel like it's potentially going to pick up on the threads from the Solo movie, where you find out he's leading the. Can't remember the name of that organization or whatever, that kind of rogue criminal syndicate organization that he's running or
Oh,
something.
with yeah.
Kira was her name, the girl that was in Game of Thrones also, that was in the Solo movie. Can't think of her name off the top of my head. It will come to me
Oh,
eventually.
that's right. I remember the Solo movie. I feel like I didn't put a lot of.
Do you remember Solo? Remember that movie?
Yeah, I
Remember when we
didn't-
tried to make that a thing? We explained
Yeah.
that his name was because
Yeah.
he was solo when he left his planet.
Yeah, I just like didn't. I
What a movie. Marco's shaking his head over there. Well, I think
'cause that,
we
I
can all
guess-
agree that Solo was a bit of a huge misstep.
Is that on the bottom of the list? Yes.
That's.
I don't know if it's the very
before-
bottom, but it's pretty far.
Pretty far down.
You know, it's one of those movies like when I go back and do watch it occasionally, I'm like, it's a fun enough movie. It's just an unnecessary movie.
It is unnecessary. I didn't think it was well done. I don't remember who the director was.
It's Ron Howard, because it was supposed to be Phil Lord and Chris Miller, as of the Lego Movie and
Oh, that's
all those other
unfortunate.
amazing, fun comedic, films. They were the ones originally directing it. Their vision was not the direction that Disney wanted to go, so they kicked them off the film and brought in Ron Howard to finish it up.
Well, so I guess that's then in between then and Obi-Wan like murdering him, right? Cutting off his legs. Didn't he die? Isn't Maul dead?
Well,
Right?
Yeah.
Well,
Yes.
Well,
Sorry.
no. Remember,
Wait, what?
in the Clone Wars movie, in the Clone Wars series,
Yeah.
he comes back with mechanical legs.
Oh shoot, I forgot about that.
He does. Okay, again, spoiler alert for those who have
Sorry.
not watched the animated properties. But in Rebels, he finally finds Obi-Wan on Tatooine.
Yeah.
And Obi-Wan kills him there.
And he gives up. Yeah.
because he one last time, because he's been
Yeah.
filled with vengeance to go after Obi-Wan.
Yeah. But
ever
then he's
since-
just kind of like, I want to die.
ever since Obi-Wan cut him in half and he
Yeah.
somehow survived.
Yeah. No, I remember the mechanical
But
legs.
it was for the best of it, because Maul
Yeah.
was a fantastic running character all the way through the Clone Wars series and Rebels. They did a great job with that character.
So, but okay, so
So we have a gap of time between basically Clone Wars. We saw the brief nod of him in Solo at the end of Solo,
Okay.
and then Rebels. Essentially, there's a whole gap of time of at least, what would that be? Almost 20 years.
Yeah.
Like
That's
somewhere
kinda like
somewhere in that time frame we've got in that
the
gap there.
Bo-Katan kind of in that.
And I think that's where this series takes place, is somewhere in that time frame. I don't know.
don't
Anyway,
care.
I will watch it because again, I've enjoyed some of the animated stuff, and it's it's whatever. But
I
it
do
is what
like
it is.
Sam Witwer, but I don't know if I'm. I don't know. Don't know.
I hate to say it, but I feel like that's where we are with Star Wars right now. It's a lot of like, yeah, sure, I'll check that out.
Just give me a book or I don't know, some failed Walt Disney World experience that I'm not going to pay for.
I did just finish playing Jedi Fallen Order finally.
Oh, the first one
Yeah, which I thought had a very kind of like.
with Cal.
Thumbs up.
Have you played that, Marco?
Yeah,
I did
very
feel like the
good.
ending was like a little abrupt, which but obviously anyway, there's another game to play,
Yeah,
which
Cal
I'm
Kestis.
excited to start playing that. But I thought it was a very sudden ending. I wasn't expecting to suddenly get there, and I was like, oh,
Darth
I'm
Vader
at the
is
end.
insane in that.
Yeah,
Fighting him is hard.
Spoiler alert again, but yes.
Yeah.
I'm going to be entirely honest. I played that entire game on Jedi Knight mode, which is like that's not the hardest mode.
Yeah,
like
I was
Jedi
on
Master's
easy.
hardest.
Yeah.
I finally, when I got to the last level and I was struggling so hard to get through it, I was just like, I just want to be done with this. That I switched it down to the next lower level, the slightly lower level that's like emphasizes story over the difficulty. And then I blew through it and finished it with absolute ease. But
Speedrun, no
I
death.
felt a little bit bad about that, but I'm also just like, whatever. Like I played through all this game on,
Right.
the average difficulty mode throughout, like so.
Okay.
I was rewarding myself at the end with
That's fair. That's totally fair.
because I didn't feel like fighting Vader 50 times.
Yes,
at the
right.
end before I could finally
Man.
pull it off.
Shoot.
So, all right, that's it. We need to stop. Like we can. Marco's hitting the watch. I think he's got
like,
something
it's
he's
been
gotta go to.
time.
We dragged the poor man in on his PTO day apparently, which I was not aware of when I booked this.
Way to go. Yeah.
But it's for us to ramble.
Way
about
to go,
Star
boss
Wars.
man.
So,
Yep.
so that does it for us. We will be back next year with new episodes. And if you only care about the Star Wars episodes, next December,
there you go.
Star Wars Nerdfest episode 7. We'll be talking Mando and
Hopefully.
Grogu. I know that much.
Well, at least that to talk about, and hopefully something else.
Hopefully
maybe more
something
news
else.
to come.
Hopefully some more, because at least I will say, like, I do want that movie to be successful.
Yeah.
Because if it's successful, then at least maybe that will hopefully open up the doors.
A little momentum
for some
going.
of these other projects
Yep.
to get off the ground. and
Yep.
Some
Get us
trust.
moving in the right direction.
Yep.
Get people pumped about all things Star Wars again.
There you go.
All right, folks, that has been the first season of the Blue Star Nation podcast and the 6th season of our podcast in general. Thanks as always, Dean, for being
250
for being
what?
here.
Thank you to
253
you,
this
John.
episode, I think.
253? Yeah.
You guys are workhorses. You guys
There you go.
never take breaks.
Getting it done.
I know. It gets exhausting. We're gonna keep at it. We're gonna
No
keep
days
going.
off.
300's in sight. Like we can.
Absolutely.
We could actually get there by the end of next year.
Yes.
I think it'd be fun if our Star Wars ep next year was
With 300.
300 somehow.
Ooh.
I don't know if I can engineer that in the schedule.
We need
but
to make that happen.
we might have to do some double weeks.
We'll do some
Yeah.
double weeks. Couple tech bites in
We'll
there.
make it work. I like when we can do the anniversary episodes of Fun Hypes. Sam, thanks so much for joining
Yes,
us.
thanks, Sam.
And as
Of
always,
course,
love having you for
of
Star
course.
Wars episodes. Marco, thank you, as always, for everything you do behind the scenes, as well as for actually jumping on the mic for this episode. We'll see you out there, folks, in the nation.
Swank.